Of course, Brian was on the pregame show, and now he joins us for his Monday morning analysis of what went on. He is brought to us by Rudder Roofing, Window Siding, and Decking. They will protect your house. Hello, B. West.
Good afternoon, Mikey. Miss, how are you?
I don't know how to feel here, so you can help me out a little bit because I looked at the first half, and I'm going, this is the JV against the varsity. And then they showed some fight, and the quarterback fought a little bit, and, they had a chance to tie it. So, I don't know where to go on this, and I'm hoping you can settle me down here.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think you appreciate the fight that you saw on the team, especially in the second half. You appreciate that. You appreciate all that they were able to do just to even make it a close game. And quite honestly, they could have tied it. I think part of the game, as you watch it, has to be talked about is that Baltimore at some point took their foot off the gas. They kind of were joking around on the sideline. You see pictures of Lamar Jackson joking around with the other guys on the sideline. So they kind of took their foot off the gas. I don't know how serious they took everything towards the end of the game. But when you got towards the end, at the end of the game, when the Eagles were mounting the comeback, they had to try to turn it back on, and they turned it on a little bit. But listen, I appreciate what the Eagles were able to do. When you talk about just having two starters left, Carson and Jason Kelsey on the offensive side of the ball at the end of the game, it was a valiant effort. We saw some heart shown by our quarterback and, of course, everybody around him. But we also can see that the better teams in the NFL are far and away much better talent-wise than what we have in our football team. And I think we also already knew that going into the game.
What part of the game did you like as far as the Eagles go, and what part bothered you?
Well, I like the fact that Fulgham continues to compete. He goes up there and make contested catches. Some of those catches that he made over Peters was impressive. I'm glad that Carson continues to have faith in them, giving him an opportunity. I like they busted a long run with Miles Sanders, even though he fumbled at the end. I hate all the fact that we're dealing with all these injuries. I mean, we will be without Ertz. We'll be without Sanders on Thursday. You're dealing with a bunch of injuries. I also hate the fact that Carson got hit 16 times and sacked a bunch of times as well. And so those are just a few of the things that I didn't like as I watched the game.
All right, let's go into some specific things. First of all, he went for it on 4th and 1, down 17-0. Field goal would have put him on the board. They wound up not getting the first down when he didn't get the sneak. What did you think of that call?
You had a point. You're at 17-0. You have to go for it. You have to find a way to try to get a spark. You have to find a way to try to get the first down. I would have loved to, at that point, I think this is the reason why you have a guy like Jalen Hurts. That's the guy that I would have had in the game. And obviously, hindsight, I am Monday morning quarterbacking it just a little bit because you didn't get it. But those types of plays are the reason, in my opinion, why you go out and get a guy like Jalen Hurts. And if he's going to be your Taysom Hill type of guy, those are the plays that you want him in. And unfortunately, we kept Wentz in and try to sneak it. And against that defense, it's just hard to sneak right up the middle. They have some big boys right there in the middle of the field. It's just hard to do it at that point.
Okay. Now let's move on to the 2-point conversion when they do finally get there. What did you think of that call?
I would have loved to have seen a different play. I don't know that play runs or kind of falls into the things that we do well. I don't know that they had any success on that same play all game long. So here's the other part, and I heard Doug speak a little bit about this earlier. I don't know that they had any other plays that they can pull from because of the amount of people that the new guys that they had in the game. What are the plays that you can pull from? The amount of plays, that big sheet that Doug has with all those different plays. Some of those plays, the guys that were in the game have never even run. They're put in, they're installed as far as the offense of meetings and stuff. But usually you have your starters run them. Some of those plays that you may have want to run, those guys have never even ran those plays, so they may not even know what they're supposed to do. So, I mean, there were some issues there, obviously, with the different guys going in and out of the game, the injuries that we had. And that was one of the plays that Doug came up with. I didn't like the play. Obviously, the result was bad. I wish that we could have got to a different play. But again, we were outmatched from the beginning. I applaud the effort. But in this game, in the NFL, effort points get you nothing. it really gets you.
Yeah, I think they always overcomplicate a call when you have a bigger mobile quarterback that you can roll them and just turn it into a beach football play and gives you a better chance. But they didn't get it. So now I want to ask you about the running back, Miles Sanders. And you caught a lot of balls for this franchise, and you were really good at it. You were good at moving your body in certain areas to catch balls. Now, he goes on that route, and he's wide open in the end zone. It looks like he's expecting the ball to go to the corner, to the sideline, and the ball is inside, and he can't pivot enough to get himself right to catch the ball. What did you think of that play, and should a running back make that kind of catch?
Catchable ball, absolutely should have made the catch. Even if he had to start by looking over one shoulder and come back to the other shoulder, still should have made the catch. He looked a little stiff when he tried to make that play. That surprised me because I thought Miles Sanders was a little bit better at making those types of plays in particular, even though he hasn't done that a lot here with the Eagles. I was surprised that he dropped that ball because that's a touchdown. That's another opportunity for us to put points on the board. I was surprised by it because I thought he was a much more fluid catcher. I mean, there are some guys. I'll give you an example. T.O. learned how to become a catcher. I mean, he was on the jugs. He was throwing with quarterbacks. He became much more of a fluid catcher. He wasn't a natural guy just catching the football, but he became that because he worked on that skill set. It looks like I thought Miles was more of a natural catcher. In that play in particular, he didn't look like the natural catcher that I thought he was. And maybe it's because he thought the ball was going to be over the other shoulder or something like that. He just didn't look as fluid as he normally does.
Now, a big run, and then the fumble at the end. They got lucky to get the touchdown out of that. What is your thought about what should a running back be doing in that situation?
Well, it's pretty simple. You protect the ball. At that point, everyone else is behind you. I mean, unless you have Chris Johnson speed, you know that they're coming at some point. You got to be able to understand that when they get there, the only thing that defense likes to do is knock the ball out. You saw it multiple times throughout the game where their defenders are constantly trying to knock the ball out, knock the ball out, knock the ball out. You have to make sure that you protect the ball. That's the most important thing. Not getting another yard, that's not the most important thing. Protecting the ball is the most important thing. And again, they did get lucky in that situation. I'm glad that J.J. Arcega-Whiteside was on the field.
All right, the score's 24-6, and I know the thought crossed your mind that this game's over. Preserve your quarterback for Thursday. Mm-hmm. Were you surprised they didn't do it?
Well, I am surprised. I mean, the reason that I thought you should probably consider taking Wentz out is because he was getting beat up. And not because of his play, not because I'm thinking that Jalen Hurts is going to come in and save the day, not because of any of that. I want to make sure that my quarterback can make it through 16 games. In fact, I'm more concerned with my quarterback making it to Thursday. And that was the reason why I thought Doug would consider taking him out. From Doug's standpoint, he left him in, and Carson was able to lead some sort of a comeback. And I think that was a good thing. But, yeah, I certainly would have considered taking him out. And I probably would have listened to Carson as far as maybe give him another series if he asked for that. But as a head coach, my duty is to protect my quarterback and make sure that he can play the entire season. That's why I would have considered taking him out at that point.
All right, they have a Thursday game. It's against the Giants, who got their first win. You're absolutely right about this quarterback getting beat up. And I don't know how that's going to affect Thursday, but you being in the trenches and being banged up and having to play a game right away, that was a physical team they played. How do you think that they respond in a couple of days to play a game on Thursday?
It's going to be tough. I mean, luckily they're playing against an opponent that's not very good. We know what the Giants are. They're not a very good team. It seems like they're in the middle of a rebuild. They're going to be sore. It's going to be a tough game because you're coming off a physical game. I was trying to remember the team. It may have been the Patriots and teams that played them. That play the next game. So you play the Patriots this week, and then the next week you're all beat up, and so you normally lose the week after you play the Patriots. And I think it was the Patriots. I kind of feel the same way about the Ravens because they beat you up so much. It's such a physical game, and we knew that coming into the game, that the next week is always in question for some of your important players. We know that Carson is going to play. We know that he has the heart of a champion. We've seen that, especially in this week. We want to see how effective everybody else around him can be. That's going to be the tail of the tape if they can win this game or not on Thursday.
All right. Right now, how you feeling? They win the game? The line has gone down 4.5.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants are not very good, and quite honestly, we're not very good right now. We're not very consistent. We're going to have to make some big plays, and defensively, we're going to have to stop some decent receivers. It's going to be a tough one. I probably need to put a little bit more thought into it before I give you an answer. All
right. Well, you're coming off a 1-2 weekend. I know you know that.
Oh my God, I struggled. You know why? It was a bad week. It was just there's no excuse. It was just a bad week for me. Bad week.
All right. Tyrone's got a shot to go 2-1.
Where did Tyrone go?
He's 1-1, but tonight's going into tonight's game. So we could pick up a game on you.
And unfortunately, Brian, you can't root for Dallas. So if Arizona wins, I'm 2-1, and you can't root for Dallas. So you're in the jam.
Put you in a tough spot.
Yeah, I'm in a bad spot. You're right. Well, I want you to lose no matter what. So that's just my feeling. I mean, that's just who I am, right?
All right, man. We'll talk to you on Friday.
Sounds good. Take care.
Yeah, Brian Westbrook, because we're talking Friday on Football Friday about a game.
Mike Missanelli, afternoons from 2 to 6 on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.